Rabbi Asher.
Yep.
Shalom.
Hi.
And I was at bigjewish.org on your
Mm-hmm.
website. The reason I'm calling, I've been considering myself a Jew or Israelite for maybe a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was Muslim for like almost 20 years. And then just after studying and repeatedly coming up with different results and everything. But, I choose to live my life as a Jew, as well as my wife. We're trying to convert, and I came across some of your YouTube pages, and I have some questions for you. Is there a difference between Hebrew, a Jew, or Israelite?
Not really. It depends what country you live in. In some societies, Jews are considered Hebrews, even today. The way it's understood and separated is that after the Jews left Egypt, they started to be known as Israelites and not Hebrews anymore. We don't really know where that term came from. So there's one opinion. The word Hebrew means Ivri in the Hebrew language. Right, Ivri. Ivri means Hebrew in Hebrew. That's how you say Hebrew in Hebrew. The Hebrew language is called Ivrit. So the opinion is that it comes from the word to cross over. We're called Hebrews because Abraham crossed over the river. In other words, he went from where he was to where God wanted him to be. This is why we're called Hebrews. The other opinion, we're called Hebrews because we're descendants of Aver.
Right.
Right in the Torah, there's the two characters, Shem and Aver, that according to the Midrashim, they established schools and all this stuff, and they were teaching the 7 Noahide laws. So we're not sure exactly why we're called Hebrews. The phrase or the term Jew doesn't really appear in the Bible, and with the exception of the book of Esther, and also in a couple of other places. It doesn't really point to a specific people. So Jew just means that you're a descendant of the tribe of Judah. But in the time of Megillah Esther, in the book of Esther, it referred to people who belonged to the kingdom of Judah. Yes, in other words, the kingdom of Judah was made up of other tribes, which included the tribe of Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, and a piece of Shimon. So that's why they were still called Jews, even though they belonged to a few of the other tribes. By that time, 10 northern tribes were already gone.
Now, some say that Jew or Yehudi comes from one who praises God, but that is not clearly present in the text.
Right.
That's more of a devotional understanding. But according to the language, it's accurate.
According to the rabbis of Mishnaic literature, and for sure the Rishonim, the phrase Jew is almost never used. It's always Israel, an Israelite. He's an Israelite, I'm an Israelite. But I think people get stuck on modern day speak. So it's really semantics. It doesn't really matter whether you're a Hebrew or you call yourself a Hebrew or a Jew. So I know Black Hebrews focus on that a lot, saying, "Oh, well, Jews nowadays are Jewish because they wish they're Jewish," But it's kind of silly to assume that biblical Hebrew contains English phrases or an English mindset. In other words, saying that this means anything from a biblical or Hebrew perspective. The notion that he's Jewish and not a Hebrew. And again, the term Hebrew is almost never used in Tanakh after Yetziat Mitzrayim, after the Exodus.
Yes, sir. That's interesting. Well, I don't know how to, I'm just trying to ask questions and get to know, understand. I've been listening to Rabbi Fune in Chicago on, a few YouTube channels and everything. So like I said, I've been trying to study, so I don't know what to do as far as conversion. I went to a synagogue in Dallas. I'm from Dallas. Had I wanted to convert, I can convert. Is that the correct term to use? Since what you're saying as well, I'm listening to everything you say. Well, what's the steps? Because I'm already considering myself as a Jew. There's all complications because right now I'm having financial difficulties right now. There's some challenges I have in my life right now, but
all right,
nevertheless.
You're already a Jew. You are what you consider yourself in God's eyes. The conversion process is rabbinic, and with the exception of having to be circumcised, joining the Jewish people, at least in Torah, was just deciding to put aside idolatry and following the one and only God. And this is what the Talmud says. The Talmud says that anyone who shuns idolatry is a Jew. Now, what does that mean? It means that in God's eyes, you're in the covenant, and that's what being Jewish really means. I mean, there's nothing special about calling yourself a Jew if you're not in the covenant. However, the Jewish people don't know how serious you really are, but God does. God knows you identify yourself with that covenant and you consider yourself part of his people. That's what you are. However, the Jewish people need to see an illustration of that commitment. So they created this conversion process. Now, according to Jewish law, conversion is not supposed to take 1 year, 2 years, cost all this money. That's a new thing. According to Jewish law, conversion is supposed to take 1 day or a few days. And it's clear like this in the Talmud. I have a video on how long conversion should take, and I bring sources. The problem is Jews have politicized conversion nowadays because of the state of Israel. Because in the old days, conversion was just joining a religion. But since the birth of the state of Israel and Zionism, it's acquiring citizenship in one of the nations of the world. And this is problematic because now you have a country denying citizenship to people who were even born Jewish just because them becoming citizens of the state of Israel wouldn't be a benefit, a financial benefit for the country. And I've known people who've been turned down. So they politicize religion. But this is all we got right now. I would recommend convert, go through an accepted Beit Din, accepted conversion process. And then once you're a Jew, accepted like a Jew, then you can begin to change things. You could begin, you can't do much from the outside. I'm not going to tell you that all this stuff is from Mount Sinai, the conversion process. No, I think that real academics in the yeshiva world are able to make a distinction between what's from the Torah and what's from the rabbis. We teach that the Torah commands us to listen to these rabbis, not the rabbis of today, but the rabbis of the Sanhedrin, which ceased to exist around 300 of the Common Era. However, we still make a distinction between the laws that came directly from God and the laws developed by man. But go for it, man.
Well,
Don't.
Like I said, I've been difficult thing. I was a Muslim for a while. That's the thing. It was kind of just different. It's similar, but it's different.
It's almost identical. I'll tell you. Islam is really nothing but a perverted form of Judaism. Virtually every custom, even the hijab, like the head covering that the Muslim women wear, is Jewish, and the Jews changed it. But it's clear in Jewish law women are supposed to cover their necks as well. And virtually everything, with the exception of pointing to Mecca. But before they pointed to Mecca, they pointed to Jerusalem when they prayed. There's a lot more similarities in terms of customs and ceremony between Judaism and Islam than with Judaism and Christianity. Even the Shahada, it's supposed to be that quick to convert.
Yeah, even then, the Azan, me and my wife was discussing that earlier, the Azan is similar. There's a call to prayer in Judaism.
Sure. Also, Maghrib. Maghrib is Mariv. It's the same. Also, but the reason Muslims have 5 times of prayer is because Jews, if you think about it, also have 5 times of prayer. But we split it up into 3. In other words, our prayers have different times attached to them. For example, the morning prayer is really 2 prayers or 2 segments. The Shema, which is 1 prayer that has its own Zman, its own time frame, and then the Amidah, that's 2. And then there's the afternoon prayer, which is just the Amidah, that's 3. Then there's Mariv, which is 2 more because it's the Shema and the Amidah again. So that's a total of 5 prayers, and this is where Islam got their set of 5 prayers. I know there are many Jews that teach, that Muhammad erroneously copied Yom Kippur service, but they haven't thought about it. Yeah, go ahead.
That was the turning point for me, and it was kind of heartbreaking. It was like Muhammad took everything and did his thing, and it was kind of heartbreaking after I realized it and read it and come to grips with it that's what happened. And it's just a little heartbreaking, that's all it really was. But I was wanting to convert through your process, through what you have for people. I don't live next to the synagogue. I don't live Jewish community at all. I'm staying like miles outside of Dallas. It's like a little suburb area. It's just difficult. I tried it. We tried to go. We tried to do the things, but it's just difficult. From jobs.
I recommend for you to convert conservative then. Conservative synagogues allow you to convert even if you don't live walking distance to the synagogue, and still convert Orthodox. Your goal is really
why conservative? Why conservative?
I mean, it's the only other option. I mean, Reform for sure is not an option because they're very, very liberal in terms of the way they view God. I mean, they ordain gay clergy, and some conservative synagogues are also moving in that direction. I mean, the idea is that something is better than nothing. Okay.
Yes, okay.
The goal is for you to get a recognized Orthodox conversion, for you to learn Hebrew, for you to be in some sort of Jewish community. Who I recommend to just go to a conservative shul. Once you get a conservative conversion, it'll be a little easier to upgrade that conversion than to start completely fresh with an Orthodox one.
Okay. Well, what's the first step? I know you mentioned circumcised. I would have to get another circumcision.
What do you mean out there? Video. I mean, you were circumcised as a baby, right?
Yes.
All right. So then, before the conversion, there's something called Hotafas Dam Brit, or Hotafat Dam Brit, which means that they just poke it with a little needle. You don't really feel anything, and then like a little drop of blood comes out. Trust me, it's like nothing, and that's it. Okay. It's not like a whole circumcision. The whole thing takes like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you recommend synagogues to go to? I mean,
Orthodox synagogues or conservative. I mean, just there's
okay.
Now, some Orthodox synagogues just let you go, like driving there, but they just won't convert you. So you could do that too. Go Saturday morning, get there around 9:30.
Can I drive and without anybody looking at me?
I mean, just don't park in the parking lot. I mean, park like in a shopping center nearby, and then just walk in. Get there on Saturday morning at 9:30, and just obviously like walk in with a kippah. Turn your cell phone off, like hide your keys so it looks like you didn't drive there, and just do what everyone else does. Sit in the guys section, and then at the end of the synagogue, go up to the rabbi, say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm just interested in conversion, but I don't live in the area, so I'm just attending. If that's okay and all that stuff." And I'm sure they'll say it's fine. There's probably going to be like a little meal afterward. The goal is to socialize there, just meet people, and that's it, little by little. I mean, once you meet more people, that you begin to network, all these things begin to fall into place. You'll see.
Okay, Rabbi.
All right, cool, man.
All right.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.